Let's do it.
Let's do it. This is it. Saturday morning game day, baby.
Feels like years since we've had like a Saturday game.
Yeah. What was the last Saturday game?
I'm sure someone in chat can tell you quicker than I can. Jeez. It just feels ages ago that we haven't had an obscure day. Sydney was a Friday. Melbourne was a Friday. Melbourne
was a Saturday, was it?
Oh, Melbourne was a Friday. Jesus, that feels like last season.
Yeah. All right. Who is here? Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. Happy game day. Glenn. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like going to the Docklands now. Absolutely. Chills is always here. Lockie Kellett, I should say. Kennett. Disaster. How are you, Lockie? Paul is in the chat. Gokhan, big day ahead. Absolutely, mate. Christian, good morning. Marty, Sugiarto, how are you? Sayaf, Alhamdulillah, Salam alaikum. Lou, that bloke. Yeah, Lou's up and about. Rowan, Jay, Aussie. Who else? Rocky, Chris, Brian, Vizzy Blue. Hey. Bugs Bell doesn't miss a stream.
He's a committed bagger.
Yeah. Zainab, El Ayubi, hey. How do you say good morning in Arabic? I'd like to learn. Please let me know so we can pronounce it. So Pom can try it.
I'm just saying, there's an ulterior motive here. There's no way.
Mark, Laurie, Roberto, Chris Lang. Hello, mate. Going to his first game for the season with his fiance. Love that. Jay, sometimes it's hard being a diehard Blues fan from Adelaide, mate. Well, it is, but that's why you've got us. That's why you've got Pommy, because the watch along is there for you. Wa alaikum salam. Love that. Marty pronounced it correctly. Tez, well done. Sugiarto. No problem, Marty. All right. What do we got?
It's a rare thing on this stream, words being pronounced correctly. So,
well, we just try to, be a bit diverse. There's so many different people from so many different parts of the world. Is anybody here from outside of Australia? Let us know. Matula, Kalimera.
Just showing
Diana.
off.
That was Greek. What up, Nathan?
That's in your purview.
Marty going to take his 1-year-old son for the first time. Hello, I'm on stream. Can I call you back in 90 minutes? Okay, bye.
Tell you what, my heart and soul goes out to you, Marty. 1-year-old. They're getting to that stage where the hard work, that 1 to 3 period. 1 to 3.
How do you say good morning in English when you had a big Friday night?
Hey up, Cocker.
Yeah. How are you, Cobber? Oh,
Cocker.
This is good.
Cockers.
Gorkan. Günaydin. Good morning in Turkish. Günaydin. I think the dots mean it's U. Günaydin. Günaydin. Very good. All right.
We can do
Tommy,
that.
What's going on, mate? Happy Saturday. What's on your mind? How are you feeling today?
I feel like I always do in the lead up to games. I'm quite chill. I'm more emotive during the game, but as we build up, I'm quite relaxed.
Yeah, I'm pretty relaxed at the moment. I know that I'm going to... I feel like today's going to be one of those games where you just fully immerse yourself in it and hopefully they start the game with a bit of confidence as well, get some scoreboard pressure early, and then I think they'll bring the crowd into it. Port, obviously, their job is to shut the crowd up early on the road. That is the job. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Port just try and shut it down early on.
I mean, yeah, Port will know that it's going to be a partisan home crowd for the Blues, and so it should be. We need that. I think that does help our boys out. Christian makes a good point. Wheaters 150th. They all seem to like Wheaters. They did it for Charlie last week, so there's that there. And I think Carlton are always going to be that team, aren't they? Because if they win today, the press have already started the whole, Port have had a few outs. Like 6 months ago, Jason Horne-Francis was a disaster. Now, evidently, he's prime dusting with them out. So for the Blues, I think it's validating their work. I think this is the full stop, isn't it? If they win this, you can make excuses that Port are at full strength. But for the Blues, psychologically, it says, you know what, we can do this. We belong here.
Yeah, I have noticed that talk, and I've noticed some people get a little bit upset at the media for it. I don't know why we get sucked into it. Like, who cares? The narrative of the external being the mainstream, who cares what they say? Who cares what opposition fans will say? Because they're always going to create a narrative around why a win for Carlton doesn't mean as much. Oh, you have only played so-and-so. Oh, they've had, 7 outs. Okay, it's like, okay, yes, but they've also got, 6 ins, including their captain. What is the most important today? The most important factor today is just winning, getting 4 points. Who's in and who's out is irrelevant. And I think more than anything, it just puts us right back in the hunt. I think we're in the hunt now, but I think winning today puts us... I think most people would tip against us today. I mean, I think the narrative around who's the better side this year, it's clearly Port Adelaide. And so for Carlton, the only thing that really matters is winning. It doesn't matter who's in and who's out for Port. Just Carlton have to win.
A lot of focus is put, I think, on your opposition and their strengths and weaknesses. But I mean, the cold hard facts of any game is if you're unplayable, it doesn't matter who they've got on the park. So, I mean, for the Blues, 4 points probably means more to us than it does them, because I think the narrative for us is if we get 4 points, I think Voss would have had somewhere in a little board us, Port, Fremantle, Port, Melbourne, Collingwood.
Yep.
And said if finals is a possibility, 50% of them have to be wins. They've not won off. Suddenly they've done it, and it's in their hands. And I think that's powerful. When it's in your hands, I think it comes with a poison chalice, but I think psychologically it just gives you a little bit of an edge when it's in your hands. At the moment we're chasing.
Yep, totally. Dale is in Thailand. What up, Dale? Love to see it. I love it. I think it's the coolest thing. Damien Munier sent me a photo last week. Feet up in, I think it was Thailand. I think he's in Thailand. Feet up watching us on Saturday last week. It's the coolest.
That's cool.
Okay. What about last night? What did you make of last night? That was incredible. Melbourne looked like a team that the cracks were appearing in. And then all of a sudden, push came to shove. Fourth quarter came along and they pinch it. What did you make of that?
Well, good teams find a way, don't they? It's something that we've said a lot about our teams. Do you know what I mean? Good teams just find a way.
Yeah.
Brisbane looked like they were in deep water, and Melbourne asked the question. And ultimately, I think that is a concern for me I've had with Brisbane for the last couple of years. They look a very good side when everything goes their way. But there seems to be some cracks in them when you push them, you ask the question. And Melbourne had all the answers. And let's be honest, shout out to Max Gawn. What a player. What a player. What a heroic captain's performance as well. And it lifted them all. As what you saw it. Max is one of them players that when he's up and about, Melbourne just looks such a better side. It's like they rise. So huge game. It was intriguing, wasn't it? Let's hope ours isn't like that.
Yeah. I tell you what, yeah, the Melksham comments, I felt that. You know what? I felt not vindicated. I felt it was good to see Melksham do it to someone else. So it's not just Carlton that he does it to. But yeah, we've obviously had our own version of Jake, Wayne Carey, Melksham show up round 22 last year. But no, I think it was a great game. If you're a neutral like we are, I mean, if you've never watched a game of AFL, never watched a game of footy, that was the perfect game.
Oh, Jake Melksham. Yeah, he has his moments, doesn't he? It was a great game.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that the AFL are trying to replicate 9 times a year, 9 times a week, but change all the rules. Controversial as well. How good is football that there's always a bit of controversy? The Hipwood mark.
Was it a mark to Hipwood or not? I say no.
If we were Brisbane, 100% a mark. I think it's a tough one. I mean, at that stage, you kind of want the umpire to put the whistle away for the last 2 minutes. So I think I've seen them given, I've seen them not given. I do like the fact that the umpires just let it go, because I do feel like this year a lot of them tight games have been ruined by over umpiring the last 2 minutes. I did like them last 2 minutes. It felt like the umpires were like, let's just play these boys play out, and stiff. But I mean, it's quite funny seeing Brisbane lose, because they are one of them, and Geelong are probably the 2 worst sides in the league at taking an L.
Yeah,
I just find it amusing.
Whether it's on the field for the Lions or whether it's off the field in the tribunal, they do not take L's very well at all.
Yeah, well, they just start turning on other clubs that aren't even involved. I just find it just amusing, to be honest. I just find it very amusing.
Yeah, it was unlucky for the Lions, but that's footy. It hurts. It hurts. So what I want to do to kick us off, I'm going to play us Vossi's press conference. How about that?
Bit of Vossi on Saturday morning.
I'll just take it simple. I guess the team meetings, and I guess just the mood this week off the back of a great performance over in the West, and what is such a exciting game.
Yeah, energy's certainly been building over the last few weeks. I guess to play the way that we did and how we played was really pleasing. In foreign territory and against a pretty handy side. So to find our way through that and get the 4 points was really pleasing, and obviously sets up a pretty big game against Port Adelaide, who have, by results, they're probably the best team in the comp right now. So presents a really exciting challenge in front of us.
You've still got planning for a team that makes 7 changes to the selection. Last night, how did that adjust the planning for the week?
Well, it hasn't adjusted too much. I think the challenge has been for us is they've been chasing us for a fair bit of it, and continue to value the roles that we need played and the pressure we need to bring. But on the other side is obviously a team that's in really handy form, and take names aside, their system and their roles and their pressure stacked up against for most of the year. And I guess if you look over the back of their year, they have had changes quite regularly throughout the season, but the next person's come in and managed to get a job done. So have to recognise and respect that, and I'm sure they're coming over with a clear intent of what they want to get out of the game, and we've just got to make sure that we bring our best. I think the right path is a good way to explain it. I think in these sorts of environments, you ever rest on what you've done. You're always looking for the next little bit of improvement, and we've got that in us. But yeah, we've obviously got to make sure that we can still string it together against some really quality opposition, and we sort of know what's coming our way, but ability to be able to execute against that sort of opposition will provide obviously the extra layer of challenge. The biggest change there probably our consistency towards the way that we've I guess been able to provide contest and pressure around the field. We've maintained that as a message for quite a period of time now, but yeah, certainly it's gained a lot of traction in the last little while. So we've just got to make sure that we could manage that consistency across the games, and whether that's a quarter or over the course of 3 or 4 weeks, we have to make sure that we maintain as a minimum consistency there. There was some simplicity in it. I think when you go through, the last little period of time, you got to look at what's really important to your game, and and so that's where the simplicity comes, is looking at the really important pieces that we need to get right, and sometimes that just comes in the simplest of forms. But obviously, clearly, our players are in much better form as well. They're playing a lot better as a collective, and that's obviously been able to move the needle for us. He got through a little bit yesterday, but he'll need final tick off today. So he got through that as expected. So, but yeah, we'll obviously have to still make that call. So I say as long as he gets through today, which is quite minimal to be fair, he should be right to go. No, he was really, really close last week, and we sort of took a fairly conservative approach and just wasn't right. And with the role that we asked him to play, it's a fairly bash and crash style of position that he needs to play. So we're fairly conservative in our approach with that. So he's been able to get a full week of training under his belt. So yeah, he'll be right to go.
Just on the ruck situation as a whole, across competition, talk about 2 rucks, 1 rucks, and where that game's moving. You had success in a sense with the competitiveness. You had Silas and Youngie talk too, where you've got Mark obviously battling injury talk too. But does it change your thoughts about how you use your rucks, given you've seen some other options with all those other guys?
I think you have to be cautious taking a sample size of 2 weeks. The sample size we look at is obviously clearly longer than that, and we're asking our players to be able to, play 23 games. So is it sustainable to be able to have minus 61 hitouts? I'm not sure. It puts a lot of stress on what the ground level is trying to achieve. Clearly, we've been able to do a fantastic job. I mean, I can't take away from what Youngie and Sauce have been able to do the last couple of weeks. I mean, they've competed really strongly over the last couple of weeks for us. Obviously, Tom comes back in as a bit more of as I would say, a recognisable ruckman. And we feel like that still adds plenty of growth in us as a footy team. And we've just got to make sure we get that relationship right between what's happening in the air and what's happening on the ground. That's a good question. It's a fair question to ask because it's something that certainly you mull over. But look, I think you want an even look when it really comes down to it, is give yourself an even chance. In some instances it does do that. But I think we can, we're underestimating the complement of having the ground level and the ruckman combining well together. We still feel that that's a still more powerful version of us.
You also know Port Adelaide well, the playing group. Stars and players in Rosé, but has it been, I guess, some of their the bottom 6 guys that have come up and have helped this winning run that are just as dangerous, I guess, when you try to pick them apart?
That seems to be of fairly significant, is the fact that clearly their talent has emerged and playing great football, but the role players and what they're doing and how they're creating pressure on the floor has been particularly impressive as well. And it doesn't seem to be taking away their ability to be able to defend the ground, and it's not taking away their ability to be able to hit the scoreboard. So, they've still got plenty of threats there.
Defensively, it's a weakness, I guess. They were just coming out the side. You've got the two big pillars. It was a risk trying to take advantage of an area, but how aware of Charlie and Harry of what's ahead of in that department?
Yeah, well, I think they've gone across games where they haven't had Charlie in the team. They've still been able to, young Ollie Lords come in and competed really hard and give them the presence down the line that they've needed to. So, no, we're not, based on personnel, there's there or not there should make absolutely no difference with how we approach it. If nothing else, the respect comes to that football team by the sheer fact that they're probably right now by results the best team in the competition. So they've been able to navigate challenges and threats that have come their way and still been able to find themselves on the positive side. So we're still trying to develop ourselves, and we're still trying to grow, and we're still trying to look for that element of consistency in our game. And this presents a pretty good challenge and exciting challenge for us. No, not really. I mean, it's one of those ones that's obviously a question that you should ask, but it's for us, we've navigated a pretty tricky time. So I think we've respected that and taken some really important lessons out of that. And one of those really important lessons is just make sure that we stay completely present to what we're doing and to look ahead of what the challenges ahead of us right now, tomorrow. Wouldn't be respecting our opponent whatsoever and respecting where we're at. And we haven't earned that right to even have that thought. So we'll look at our next challenge and we'll get after it as hard as we possibly can. Cheers.
Okay. A little bit in that. What did you take away from that, Pommy and everybody else? What were your key phrases, notions? What does that press conference make you think about?
It makes me firstly question the AFL media, because every time a player is injured in another team, even though you could hardly hear it, they ask the question like almost as if, do you think it's going to be a walkover now? I have never heard anyone in professional sport go, they've got 3 outs, we're just going to walk about and do what the fuck we want. Stupid question. I think what I like about Voss is the fact that he keeps referring to that nothing has changed, which I think is really important. I think that's on a broader scale something to do with life in general. Whenever things go right, when you've been trying the right thing, people try and put it down to something's changed. But Voss has broke it down, saying that the application, the effort, and that has been there since he's got there. And it's happened. And as Gary Brown says, it could be the Cunners effect. But I do think that that's a real telling thing of that. There's more of a cohesion there. And even Voss feels like he's a little bit more at ease, which I was developing a little bit of frustration from him in the recent press conferences. I reckon that would have been really frustrating when you know that it's something so minuscule, but at the same time so grandiose that it can affect it. So he's gone back to early season Voss last year. Sounds like a coach, a guy who's confident in his measure, protecting the players, and good luck to him.
Yeah. Look, cast our minds back to the low point of the season or the stretch. I do believe, maybe aside from the Essendon game, I do believe that the application was there, but we were just getting punished because we couldn't execute the fundamentals. So I don't know if execution and effort go into the same category, but I do believe that the effort and the application was there. Having said that, I do still also believe there's been a rise in the application. And I don't know if that's because they've simplified things a bit more, but it looks like they've lifted their effort. But it's not to say that the effort wasn't there earlier in the season.
I think you've got players in I think Fogarty makes such a difference to our forward line.
Yep.
And you've got to look at why he does. He's a 23, 24-year-old man now. Second club, looked behind, 2 draftees, which would piss you off. And he's taking his opportunity. And it's something we said a couple of weeks ago. You look at someone like Tom Atkin at Geelong, right? I remember Tom Atkin came into that side after about 7-8 months on the list. Geelong fans were getting a bit cynicky. We took this rookie. Who the fuck's this? He didn't quite perform. He went back to VFL, did really well. Within 2 years, he's got into that side through injuries. And Chris Scott says he's his Joel Selwood replacement. And I kept saying, we don't have anyone like that. When our reserves come in, we're like, when's that other fucker fit? Because this guy's turgid. Can't wait to drop this guy. Fogarty's come in and said, you know what? Durden ain't getting back in. Motlop ain't getting back in. And I think that's a huge little factor there, that some of these players are playing with a little bit of hunger, a little bit of desire. And it's going to be interesting because win, lose or draw for me this week, I'm looking at how they go about it because Port ain't going to fall over.
No.
And I want to see that relentless, oppressive type game style against Port because it's all about learning what you can take in. So if they can do that, and if we get beat, and I mean beat because Port are better, not because we've done something stupid, that just gives you validation of what you're doing because Port are a very good side. And I hate that whole out bollocks because people just look at us like we're Carlton. We've got 24 players. Some of these teams have 38 good players.
Yeah. Well, let's actually break it down, right? So, okay, Port have outs, but when you really look into the outs and the ins, I think it paints a bit of a different story. So, Charlie Dixon's out. He's injured. He would be, I would say, in their top 10 players. Fair. Horde Francis is injured. Junior Rioli's out for personal reasons. Quinton Narkle has been dropped. So is Burton. Both have been out of form. Sam Hayes dropped for Scott Lysette. And Trent McKenzie's injured. All right. So that's the story of the outs. The ins, Jackson Mead. This is a young fellow who has big raps on him. Same with Jace Burgoyne. Ollie Lord, obviously an up-and-comer. Scott Lysette would be their first choice ruckman right now. Tom Jonas is the captain of the football club. And Dersma, who is, one of the trio of, that Butters, Rosie, Dersma, who they have, who is arguably one of their most important pieces moving forward, and he's going to lead them to the future. He's been a bit banged up this year, but he's been playing some good footy in the Sandful. So it's not like they're losing any of their top 5 players or top 6 players. Maybe you can argue the case that Charlie Dixon is their 6th or 7th best player.
The Charlie Dixon one's quite funny, I just find, because the guy has been obviously struggling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you watch him the last couple of games, he's not 100% right. They're playing him out in the goal square. He's not doing that high roving run that he used to. You can see that he's an old man, as football terms go. Like, let's be honest, Charlie Dixon's cracking on. So, yeah, I always think that's a real dangerous place to be. But these are, without a shadow of a doubt, a bona fide good side.
Mate.
And Collingwood are getting a lot of raps. Port should get equal raps as well, because I think what they've done is just as remarkable. But, people say some daft stuff. Port would probably drop this game because they've got bigger fish to fly. They've got Collingwood next week, and they don't want to go 2-0 in the derby. And I'm like, it's not how sports sides think. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can guarantee you now, Hinckley isn't like, well, fucking drop this.
Yeah.
Because then we'll beat Pies. Because the argument is, he drops this. What happens if he loses to Pies? What happens if he loses the Crows? Suddenly that's 3 losses in a row at the most important time of the season. So he'll want to put this away because this is his banker for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at the final teams, right? So this is what it looks like. Obviously, we're bringing in Tom de Koning. Matt Kennedy's out with an injury, and Lewis Young is omitted. Bit stiff, but also such is the landscape. When I look at their forward line, and I'm mindful of not getting too caught up in who's named in the forward line or anywhere on the field because they'll move around. But generally speaking, Butters, Marshall, Boak, Burn Jones, Lord, Powell-Pepper. Those are their forwards. Who else will play forward for them? I mean, Lysette might rest forward. Finlayson. Okay, sure. So I look at our defenders, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of last week. And I'm like, Wiedering doesn't have a big monster to play on. He would usually take Charlie Dixon. Do you think Wiedering gets the job on Marshall, or do you think someone like McGovern gets the job on Marshall? Like, who is their most dangerous forward that Wiedering will play on?
Well, Finlayson's going to be probably on a output basis the guy. He's that guy. So you'd imagine, if you look at how we've played recently, Ollie Lord is Kemp or McGovern, and that's what they've been doing. They've rotated the guys off him, off a big guy, and it's worked really well because you've got Kemp, who's brought the ball to ground. McGovern's looked to use they're kind of wet behind the earnest, and Ollie Lord will be a great one for McGovern. McGovern will look at that and go, I can take you out into deep waters. You're going to come with me. And that's because he's a young forward. He's not going to have the confidence to be like, I've been here before. So that's going to be a big thing. Todd Marshall, I may regret saying this, but he's...
Oh, no.
No, Terry. No, but like he's not someone I look at and go, oh, fuck. He's Levi Casbolt. Like, he's good and honest, but he ain't going to create a goal out of nothing. He's going to be reliant on Dersma, Bergman, Rosie, Wines, getting the ball into him in fantastic positions. Do you know what I mean? So it's not going to be like Todd Marshall ain't Charlie. He ain't going to burst out 65 metres from goal, take a hanger, swing back and arc one from 65. Do you know what I mean? He needs good ball in. So that's when I look at the midfield. And if the midfield play the way we've seen and with that vigour, I think that's an interesting battle. A real interesting battle because it's complements of styles. Port play a very direct, very quick pace, kicking ball movement. Carlton have gone the opposite way and gone back to the Pomfrot's a handball. They've gone with shorter distance, with quicker movement. And that's an intriguing battle. That's an intriguing battle. And that is where it'll win because you've seen why we've improved scoring and why we're actually outscoring Port in goal accuracy, not points. We still are, but that's more important. Chances created and chances succeeded. And that's because of how we're getting the ball into our forwards. So that is where this game will be won and lost. Like forward and back line, all of them, if they play their strength, it's a 50-50 game. It's going to be who converts better. But that midfield, look at it. Look at that midfield. Have you ever looked at a midfield at Carlton for a long time and, you know, in your pants start vibrating a little bit? Look at it. Chera, Cripps, Walsh. Oh.
Well, that's where it's going to be fascinating because it's a really nicely matched up midfield. You know, Wines and Cripps, Walsh and Rosie, Chera and Butters if he floats in there. Willem Drew's a nice player as well. I'm a big fan of his. They got Bergman there on the wing. Dersman's on the other wing. Yeah, it's shaping up to be a really good battle. The other notion I wanted to touch on as well is there's a little bit of talk in the chat about McGovern will not play. I don't know, Paul, do you know that for a fact or do you just think he won't play? Ramiro says that he passed the fitness test. So as it stands right now, McGovern's named. What I can see also is Marchbank is the first name on the emergencies, which tells me he's going to be the sub or he would be the first cab off the rank if McGovern doesn't play.
Does concern me. Since round one, the first guy has been the sub or been a late in, right? So that could be two things. That could mean two things. McGovern, it's just purely there because McGovern is a fitness test. Do you know what I mean? So that would then allude that by that process of elimination, Dow is the sub by process of elimination. Because I can't see them making Marchbank a sub. But then again, I'm past the point of being surprised at Carlton Football Club, to be honest. Like Marchbank sub,
yeah,
I would be least shocked ever.
Fair. All right. I like this conversation. Dieter Lehman.
Guten Tag.
You know what? This is the question. So there's the Collingwood chant. There's the power chant. Is it just Carlton? Like, I think we need one.
You can see that. Collingwood.
We need to work alongside. Yeah, you and I have talked about this for years and like getting not just new chants, but like there's like the chant. Like right now we have Carlton clap clap, right? I feel like we need a long-winded word or a long, like one word or two words. I don't know, but something that everyone in the stadium can get around because it's almost a waste. You've got so many people that are going to be at the game today. I mean, it's going to be something that gradually needs to come in, but we need one. So what would it be? Is it just Carlton, like a long-winded Carlton?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, for AFL, it's a disgrace that Collingwood's chant is probably the most iconic. I mean, it's fucking one word. Do you know what I mean? Jesus.
Well, is
Jesus.
it? Is it the Chelsea chant? Carlton. No, it's not. It's not that. It's not that. It's not that. Could be.
Trust me, when you have a few beers with people and you find out that some of these cheer squads actually have planning meetings for songs, I'm working from a very, 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 very low base. Do you know what I mean? Like I think every club has their name, but I agree there needs to be something. Why Collingwood works so well, right? And when you go and hear great chants, so Galatasaray, do you know what I mean? Real fearsome noise, and it's very simple things. So you've got to try and keep it simplistic. It's got to be something that everyone gets involved in. I agree with Bugsbow. You couldn't have baggers in there because, trust me, that's very easy to turn around into an anti-bants. It's good, an interesting one. Like I'm more for engagement that is annoying in them chants. So I think Collingwood's works because it's quite fucking annoying, isn't it? Like if you're at the game, and we've all been to a Collingwood game, like go back and watch round 2 fan cams, Carlton versus Collingwood. You can see Pom gets a little bit irritated, right, when he loses. And that Collingwood chant is just like literally the dagger in the heart, isn't it? Like when you're losing and it's just harmonious and it echoes.
Yeah.
And so Carl, yeah, you'd have to add the oopsilon, the real crassness, as you try and add that ton to drawn out.
Well, let's watch a little something here.
What's he got?
Let's pretend! Let's pretend!
Nothing better than an away day being 4-0 down and doing that with your mates. That's what you guys should do when we lose.
What's that?
That's what you should do when you lose. There's nothing better than getting on a train, drinking beer at 7 a.m, getting to the ground, losing 3 or 4-0. You're with your pals and you go, fuck it. Let's just pretend we've scored, right? And you make the best of a bad situation. I'd love to see that in AFL, you know, like cheer squads have a bit of sense of humor. Sometimes you've got to laugh. I need to learn to laugh sometimes when it's bad.
I think that one is more of a us in 2018. Okay, that's not bad, but I don't know if that's going to work. What about this one?
Oh, what a tune!
This would not go. This would not fly. This would not fly. That would not fly in the current climate. I like this.
Yeah. Nothing better than just letting fans know they're walking out of the game.
Can you imagine? Yeah, they're walking out early. You're just screaming this at the top of your lungs.
The problem you've got though, like, is like a huge culture change. Like it's a huge culture change. Like even speaking to people of the young generation. So like you get a lot of people, I see it in chat, see it in Facebook groups, and it's like, oh, I was at the game and someone called the umpire an effing cunt and my little kid's there and stuff. That doesn't happen in the UK. So in the UK, there is kind of a culture where you take your kids to a sporting event and you don't sit in the allotted family seating, you know it's going to happen, right? So you know it's going to happen. So that's where there's a bit of an onus on you as a parent. Where can you imagine some of the songs I sing on the watch along, and Doris is sat there. She's been going there 70 years. She's forgot there used to be punch-ons in the 70s, and she's suddenly worried that a kid is going to learn fuck at a Carlton game 22 minutes into the second. Like, it's like perspective. So it's really hard to do, because to us, like to English people, British people, you will very rarely hear someone say, "Oh my God, the children might learn bad words."
Yeah, I find that whole notion really interesting, because when you zoom out, how long are you a child for until you turn, let's just say until you turn 18, right? Then you're known as an adult. It's like keep it friendly for the kids. Yes, but like then you're going to be an adult for 60 to 70 years afterwards. So what are we trying to pretend like people don't swear? Why do we do that? Like, what are we trying to do here?
This is a complex thing. You know what I think it is? Controversial POM. Everyone looks for an excuse. So if your kid is a fucking idiot at school, right? And trust me, as a parent, I will tell parents they're just incompetent parents, right? When their kids are idiots, I am quite happy doing that, breaking the ice meeting that they make me do. And I'll just go, look, you're a shit parent. Like, just own it. Like, your kid is a reflection of you. But they always look for excuses. And it's like, oh, he's watched YouTube, or, he heard a footballer he likes has done drugs. It's that. The biggest influence in your life, in your child's life, is you. And if it's not you, ask yourself some serious questions, because I tell you what, some fat guy at Carlton versus Richmond isn't influencing my kids. I am, right? Do you know what I mean? So on the way home, they'll know I'm the example, not them. So it's a weird thing. To answer your question, Josh, there will never be a chant in the history of the world Australia invented. That tune we use for the Charlie Curnow song dates back to like 1950. Do you know what I mean? About 1,000 players. There's about 1 billion players have had a song attributed to that tune.
All right, let's continue on. I like this.
Oh, buckets! Oh, this is brilliant. Oh, poor John Joe Shelby.
Wow. I like that.
Brilliant.
His name is a show. His name is a show. Why not John Lewis? His name is a show.
Smart. Oh, inflatable kick. There's nothing better.
Oh, mate.
Brilliant.
That fits with Charlie Curnow, just saying.
Yeah, I mean, like, the big thing about this as well, it takes me back. Like, football culture to AFL culture, totally different, right? So, like, for us, you get up at 5 a.m, right? Genuinely, the fan bases will lay on a gold coin donation. It was a gold coin donation when I was a kid. A bus from the home ground to the away ground, right?
Right.
So if it's drivable, otherwise you're getting in the train, right? You get in the train and you all meet like these guys are. The songs are part of the camaraderie. Do you know what I mean? It's the uniting. It's the breaking your ego down, because singing in public is quite fearsome. But suddenly when you've got 60, 70 of your mates, that's totally different. And then you've also got layers in that culture. So very little do you have in the UK of fans saying they're better than other fans and things like that. Genuinely, when you're part of the community, whether you make mistakes or not, that also becomes an external part of your family as well. So the singing is really steeped in our roots, really, as it's a joining and showing your identity. And you'll hear the tunes are similar for each thing. And like being part of writing a chant thing, like that's probably everyone's best moment as a young pom, is when you're in the ground and you start singing on your own and the guy next to you joins in and the guy next to you joins in. And before you know it, you're part of the beginning of a chant. It's like dicks out moment. Like, honestly, it's a great moment. And it's a shame it's not here. But I mean, like, I'm trying to say this nicely, but like when you think of Australian international sport, like Aussie, 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 oi, 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 right? That comes from the Cub Scouts in the UK. The Beavers find each other in fields going oggy, 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 oi, oi, oi. So to us, we're like, that's the best you've got. Like, we've got songs about your husbands and your wives, and that's our extreme stuff. But this is just our basic stuff. Yeah, it would be impossible to replicate, because you'd have to change the whole culture, the whole council culture, and the whole everything has to be perfect and okay. Where, like, for argument's sake, Enoch Shimomomi, right? He has a song in the UK because he's a big Nigerian boy. And Northampton fans used to sing about him having a massive willy using the racial stereotype. And a lot of people complained about that. And it was Enoch who came out and stuck up for the Northampton fans, saying, actually, it's an honor. It's an honor. Do you know what I mean? That they're singing about me. And it's not that they've welcomed me into their house and their family. And it's from the outside in, people got racial stereotype. But from the player's point of view, he was like, this is the most beautiful thing in the world. They love me. And it's an honor. And our songs are honors. So even the nasty ones like Steve Smith, we saw you crying on TV. Australians got upset about that. I can tell you as a pom, that's the deepest honor to have a song taking the piss out of you. That's because we see you as the real deal. Like, we wouldn't sing about someone that we don't have any time for.
Interesting. So it's an interesting point. Ramiro and Bugs Bell. You know, footy's got a lot of action all the time. So there's very minimal low points to get a chant out. I get that. Gurkhan, I'm going to play. Where is he? He put this one here. I'm going to play this. I haven't seen this, but we'll play this to wrap up this little segment. Let's have a look.
105. You've got to skip to 105.
Wow. Wow. That gave me goosebumps.
Mate, honestly, Galatasaray, Besiktas, all them.
Beşiktaş.
Yeah,
Beşiktaş.
it's a scary
Oh,
place.
Hey, thank you very much. Got a coffee delivered. Wow, this
Hey.
guy.
What a legend. He'll make someone a happy husband one day. Bring that.
Come say hello, mate. One day? All right. He's a bit shy.
Don't be shy. You with us.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how we'd go with like the talking chants so much and getting buy-in, but I do think there's a space for like a word. I do think there's a space for it because it's intimidating and it pisses the opposition off because the Collingwood chant, let's be honest, pisses everyone off.
Yeah, I mean, there's little things like, I look back, like you've got like, your like Rangers have always had simply the best for like the last 30 years. So Tina
Right.
Turner, that plays. Do you know what I mean? And it gets the crowd going before as they're warming up. And like my pop used to love that. My nana used to love that. She used to get she never would sing when we went to Rangers games, right? Even though she was a passionate Rangers girl, but she would love that bit. That was her favorite bit because, do you know what I mean? You've got the entire crowd singing it simply the best. The players will acknowledge them. And it just is like a bit of a togetherness. Like you're talking about, like, it's unarguable. Like, football is the greatest game in the world. I mean, that's a fact. Like, whether you like it or not, that's cold, hard fact, right? Do you know what I mean? As a fan engagement, cold, hard fact, greatest game in the world. Don't even come close. And I've been to just about every sporting event you can think of. And also the togetherness, and that's around the world, speaking to people in Italy, in Turkey, even in North Africa. The community of a football club, when you go, is incredibly different. I couldn't do a watch along in Round Ball. I couldn't because I'd want to be there. I'd want to be going on the away days. It's an experience. You feel like you're a family. It's huge. It's something that I'd love to experience. My kids hopefully one day will experience. Changes your lives. Like everything I know about life will have come from the older guys in the football. Growing up Rangers. Do you know what I mean? Things that I knew about sex, responsible drinking. Do you know what I mean? Protecting myself in a bar. Do you know what I mean? Where to get driving lessons, how to conduct myself came from older men in them clear boundaries of being part of a football club. It's an incredible experience and something that I wish we could bring here. I'd love to be able to bring that here where we break the walls down, because that's probably the only time in my life as a troubled kid that I had some normality. Like I had big brothers and big uncles and role models and people that were willing to tell me I was right and wrong. So yeah, it's a huge thing. Like, yeah. And chanting is a huge part of that.
I do like this one from Bugs Bell. We beat the Pies. We chant the Collingwood chant.
Bugs Bell gets it. Patronizing chants, taking the piss is a big part of it. Do you know what I mean? So it genuinely happens.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to open the floor up for questions. So, guys, let us know what's on your mind. In the meantime, let's talk a little bit about the journey of Jacob Wiedering. Mate, 150 games. He's grown up to become a man right before our eyes. It's a very intimate experience. It's a very intimate relationship between fan and player because we love our players. Like we love, okay, Wiedering, for an example, we love him. Most of us have never met him, most of us don't know him as a human being. So we fall in love with Jacob Wiedering, the player, and it's such an interesting dynamic. And I've heard Nathan Buckley talk about this. You know, Nathan Buckley was the ferocious, serious player that he was, and he talked about it being a mask. And Bucks is not like that off the field. Very calm, soft, genuine, soulful human being. How do you view that relationship between player and fan? Because it's love, but it's also, that's not really them. That's their on-field personality.
I think, yeah, I do feel so. Being privileged enough to speak and spend some time with Jacob Wiedering one-on-one.
Yep.
The guy's got a lot going for him as well. Like, I think his public persona to who he is are two different people. He doesn't look like he's got a good sense of humor. Like, when you look at him, you think he's quite serious, don't you? I'd imagine if you said, what is Jacob Wiedering like, you would imagine quite serious, quite intuitive, but he's still a young man, and you can see that. I think it's really important in today's society, and it really annoys me, I think, when we've got social media, that still AFL presents these players as perfect. And my proof is when they make a mistake, you see it. Do you know what I mean? They're chastised. So Ginnivan does drugs. Just about nearly every kid his age will be subjected to that. Do you know what I mean? That's the society we have cultivated. And we don't learn the real them. Do you know what I mean? And I think Wiedering, I saw his interview today. That was a bit of personality, because Wiedering's a bit like Terry. He says 90% of the things with his face. His face doesn't lie. So when you learn to decode Terry, you learn to see what he's thinking.
It's all in the eyebrows. The eyebrows talk for themselves.
The punctuation marks of the face, as they call them. But I think it's really important, because I think that you've got to push that. You've got to push the human agenda. There's been a great interview recently, Dele Alli. And Dele Alli has been painted partly by Tottenham as this charismatic superstar kid who doesn't want to learn, through the Amazon documentary and through that. And then you hear about him, the real him, the vulnerability and what he's gone through. Changes your perspective on why he's maybe gone through that, right? And why his football journey is. And that's why I think it's so important, if these players, if the AFL has any care for the players, when you start to see them be more humanized, it's harder to critique them, and they'll learn. It's a more conducive environment, because I'd imagine Wiedering is under the microscope, and you feel it. You feel it.
Yep.
I don't think Wiedering wanted to come out and talk about the money lost. I feel like he would have felt obligated to, because he's in a position of responsibility. But it's a shame. It's a shame, but he seems to be a wonderful human being.
All right. Christian is asking, which player has surprised you guys the most this season? Surprised me the most. Lockie Fogarty. Yeah. I mean, it's been 3 games, so I'm going to calm down. But I had him like...
I'm going to cool it.
I didn't have him in my mind at all to play a game this year. I thought that, you know, they had the back injury and just seemingly wasn't getting a look in and wasn't close. And it was just kind of like, oh, is he just clogging the list, for a, you know, lack of a better phrase? I did not expect him to feature again, to the point where I'm now saying, oh my God, there's something there. Let's keep going with him. That's been my biggest surprise.
I think the fabulous Nicola and Paul have my answer. Chesney. Chera. I didn't think he had the hardness. I didn't think he had the combativeness.
Yeah.
And if you told me Carlton would lose 4 or 5 games in a row and he would be the hard man, I would have been like, fuck, we're screwed. So I think absolutely amazing dedication and commitment. So yeah, he's surprised me.
Fair. Got Kemp, got Jordan Boyd, Johnny Holden, Ollie Holland's in a good way, Lobb in a bad way. Yeah, Cherani's hardness certainly. Yeah, it's definitely one player that we've hoped for. Yeah, it's a good question. What else do we have? Yeah, Pommy got the feature on the Jacob Wiedering interview, mate. Love that for you, mate.
Mate, it's 2 times the club's recognised me.
Yeah.
Tell you what, it'll snow in summer.
Yeah, we love it.
Good question as well. It was
Great
good
question.
to see him. It was good to see him like the spoil.
Josh Failer. What would life be like without having this BA community, not having an outlet? Well, to be honest with you, like dead honest, like real with you, this was always coming. I was always going to do this. I was just living until I got to this point. For me, this is like, we needed this. The industry needed this. The industry needs this. It needs a mechanism where fans can engage online and not just with text. You know, it has to be a place where you can actually build a community. So I think this channel is so in line with like my life's purpose, you know, finding something in life that you love and you obsess over and turning it into a reality. So I can't imagine life without it, to be honest. It was always going to get to this point. That's how I view it. It was destiny, mate. It was written in the stars.
I thought you'd banned yourself from saying that.
Nah, mate.
No blue abroad. Imagine it. What would we? I'd probably be in bed, to be honest. Can't be totally honest. Kids are at that age at the moment. I can see them just there. You know, they just playing Minecraft. I could have had an extra 2 hours in bed.
Yeah.
It's our outlet too. Always remember that.
It's everyone. It's not just me. Yeah, it's correct. It is our outlet. I just pushed the buttons in the beginning and sort of helped bring it. But to be honest, it doesn't become a community without contributors. So that's why it's so important to acknowledge and think of everyone that contributes, whether you're a content creator, whether you are just in the comments, you know, conversing with people. There's a lot of elements that come to this. It's great, and it's going to be here forever. Well, till we die.
Oh, well, way to bring the room down, Terry.
Mate,
so when we cark it,
you got to live life. You never know. You got to live life. Like,
it is the circle of life.
Tomorrow.
The circle.
Lockie, if we win today, fine, deal. If we win today, I will buy a scarf and I will give it away. That's what I'll do. Yeah.
Still can't believe the scarf's at $85.
I know.
That's a fucking joke.
I know. Rio, how come us and Collingwood are one of the 2 big Victorian teams, but they've got a successful chanting fan base? Well, that's because we just haven't created one, I think. I think that's the reality. All right. Is it time to play the game?
Let's do it. The chant thing is weird because, like, just about every Carlton fan is some way Italian. And
yeah.
If you ask a Pom, what are Italian fans good at? You'd be like playing with fireworks during games, defending, and they make a bit of noise, to be fair to them. So it's weird. It's weird that it has never come in. But I mean, there you are.
I'm sorry, Rio. I'm sorry. I just get excited. You knew we were going to lose when I said it was written in the stars. Well, I guess you're a genius, mate. I really thought it was. How was it not written in the stars? It was Collingwood the next week. It was absolutely written in the stars.
Terry, in my time with you, I mean, I never forget when we lost Hawthorn in like 2019, and someone put a post up that it was my fault that I said we were a chance because evidently the fucking players had listened to it and believed. I'm like, fucking hell. So, Terry, honestly, there is nothing that ever surprises me anymore.
Nothing. Okay, so to finish off today, we're going to play the game. So those who were here last week, one chance. 2 players will come up on the screen, and we have to choose who kicked the most goals in their career. So last week we actually broke the record. We broke the record, which was, it didn't save. I think it was 45. Is that right?
It was a lot. Yeah, I can't believe we've been robbed of a historical moment. Absolute disgrace.
Is there a fire drill? Okay. Okay, Andrew Embley, Blake Caracella, who kicked the most goals? I'm going to say Embley?
I think Caracella's too pretty to kick lots of goals. Official.
He played at Essendon. He played 9 years. Okay, Embley 14.
Embley's got the dead behind the eyes of someone that was a pressure forward.
Oof.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I haven't got a clue. Like, Embry, I came into the back end of his career. And,
We could be out first shot. You're right, Lou. Lou, we're in trouble here. We're in big trouble here.
But Andrew strikes me as more of a defensive player. He's just got the dead behind the eyes look, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That's a man that prides himself in goals against.
I'm going to trust Johnny Holden.
Oh! Oh!
Amazing. Amazing, John.
Oh,
Love your
God.
work, mate. Love your work, John Holden.
That was
Thank
a flea's dick away.
Wow. Okay. This would have to be Ruffy, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can't go down as a great forward if you have like an over the 10-year career and have less than 200.
This is still Jared Roughhead?
Yeah. Audi Gary Ablett.
Hey, Paul Chapman was a star. Oh, the Dominator. This gets the people up and about. I'm going to need some help. John Holden, I know you definitely watched the Dominator play. I don't know how many goals he kicked, though.
The Dominator. I'm trying to think we had this conversation last week.
We had it last week. Yeah, we did.
And I'm trying to work it out what it was. I can't remember if it was high or low. I just remember hearing all the stories. 366. 11 years. 366.
Okay.
You know what? In my head, I have Wayne Johnson as 323. I don't know why that came into my head. So, someone in chat, am I right?
Okay.
But I'm sure it was like quite high, but
Yeah.
not high.
366 is a lot. I mean, Chappie was like a half forward type player. He kicked a lot of goals for his position. I feel like the Dominator was more of a mid.
He was just an animal, evidently.
Yeah. I'm mindful to not get sucked into the fact that he's the Dominator and the big game player.
Yeah, I'm sure it was something like 223, 283. It was 2 something.
All right, John, I'm going to back you
If
again.
I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Nice. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. It looks like someone from Star Trek. Wayne Schimmelbusch. I did not know that this was a player.
If you told me that was a footballer
that played in this great game.
Definitely played for Hawthorn, didn't he? Had to, with a name like that. He has a Hawthorn vibe about him.
He played 14 years. Man,
He has a Hawthorn vibe. For some reason, I get Hawthorn vibes. Who did he play for? North Melbourne.
North Melbourne legend, from what I'm reading here. He was a winger, 300 plus games for North. Okay. A winger. Did he kick more than 283 goals? Wow.
How long was his career? Jesus.
He held the games record for North for years. Wow. Look at that,
14 years.
I learn every time. I have no idea. I feel like the answer is Jono.
Mr. Skimmelbush. He has, I mean, a winger, 14 years, so he's got a longer career. North Melbourne. Just screams 283.
Should we go for him?
What does chat think?
Chat is not giving me much.
Look at Rick. Kicked a lot of goals, played a lot of games. Mate,
that's got me sold. This could be the end of the game, so I'm going to go for it. Love it.
Well done, Rick, my boy.
Rick, shout out to you, my friend. Oh, Coach Voss. He didn't kick.
It does look like Spot Bugs Bell.
He didn't kick 355 or more in his career, Vossi.
Well, I mean, Vossi goal kicking mid. Do you know what I mean?
He was. Yes, he was.
No, but you don't really think of Voss as like that, the Paddy Dow of Brisbane Lions. Yeah.
What?
Oh, you completely wronged him.
All right, I'm going to go Shimmer. Look, I'm happy to have learnt about a player today. All right, Shimmer, up and about. Let's go. Dacos. This will be Dacos, yeah?
I'm 100% on that.
Okay, that's a nice little margin there. Oh, we had Scott Welsh last week. I forgot.
I'm pretty sure Scott Welsh had something like obscure, like them horrible numbers. Like I would say lower, but I just remember Welsh was in that horrible range, wasn't he?
Yeah. All right.
I'm sure he was that horrible range.
Yeah, the 363. Yeah.
That horrible range where you need to know what he was.
Mm-hmm. Bob Pratt. I think this one is Bob Pratt for sure, right?
Mate, if they were around the time of the war, all of them had 1,000.
All right. Yeah.
It's like a fact. If you played during the war, you probably kicked over 500.
That one's a gift. Matty Lloyd. That will also be Matthew Lloyd.
Stuart Law looks like every left back in the 90s in the Premier League. Every left back I have ever seen look like that when I was a kid.
I feel like I'm getting in my head, but I think this is still Stewie Lowe.
Clive Waterhouse is a bookies, isn't he? So, go Stuart Law.
Stewie. Yeah. Oh. Sauce kicked a surprising amount of goals, but not 386 is my first thought.
It's a lot when you're a fullback, isn't it? Like, he did swing forward, but you have to fancy Waterhouse, don't you?
Yeah, I think it was early 200s. Yeah, that's right. 202 for Sauce. Okay, Acker. That's clearly Acker. No issue there. Oh.
Tell you what, you could slice meat off Hawkins' chin, can you? Compliment. 421. That's quite a lot, isn't it?
That is a lot. I think it's still Acker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, This will be tough because they're both going to be low. Darren Buick. I remember him as a name. I think I remember vaguely him playing. I've got no intel on how many goals, though. I've got nothing.
He genuinely looks like the kind of guy that works a trade. That is the most tradey face I've ever seen.
He looks like a small forward, though. I'm pretty sure he was a small forward.
He has small forward vibes. Do you know what I mean? Plays for Pakenham third still now because he gets free beer.
Down at Aberfeldy, gets a free meat pie and a cigarette after the game.
Has to be Big Daz.
I'm gonna go Bobby Dazzler.
I was gonna say it sounds like he'd call himself the Dazzler.
Yeah. Peter Hudson, that's just a no-brainer. If you're taking a specky and you're in black and white, you've kicked more than 332 goals. Yeah, mate. Peter Hudson, that's a gift.
Rashuto looked like 50 at 18.
Rashuto was Dangerfield before Dangerfield. He was a freak.
I've just noticed Rashuto was one of them faces that looked old before his time. So, like, he looked like he was buying durries and beers at 15. And then he grew into his face about now.
Yep. This is Josh Kennedy.
On it.
Yeah, got to be Kennedy. Okay.
Wasn't Norm Smith something like 600? But
yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, there. I was right. Back yourself.
I think this is
Cyril only kicked goals in finals.
True.
Did he play 500 finals? I think not. You watch Cyril only have. No, he never had 600.
Nah, no way. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well done.
Feel like he's missing a consonant in that name.
Alan Ezard.
Holding the ball with confidence, he is.
Streaming doesn't give me goal kicker vibes. Gives me...
He's holding the ball with confidence.
Last week? Did we have this guy last week, Alan Ezard?
I feel like we did. Alan Ezard. 275 to beat. I feel like there should be commentary because that name rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Ezard.
Chat, help.
Chat, have you died?
Yeah, I know. What happened? Where is everyone? My first instinctual thought was Cyril, but that is not a lot of goals.
Purely because, Cyril's talked about as the small forward prototype.
Yeah.
And I have never heard anyone go, shades of Alan Ezard. I've never heard anyone say it. You know what I mean? Oh, that Matty O is. Bit of Ezard about him.
I'm going to go Cyril. Let's lock in Cyril. Yeah.
Oh, it's when it does that 9 and flicks to 0.
This is definitely Schultz.
Has to be 200.
Yep. That's definitely Kurt. I was
going to say, I reckon that's around where Kurt Tippett is because he was injured all the time. But when he did play, he kicked goals.
I'll go Kurt.
See, it's that injuries. It's the injuries, Terry. They get you.
My bad. That's on me. I take full responsibility for that. Didn't wait. Didn't go through the process, Pom. Didn't go through the process, mate. Just went for it. Just wanted the outcome, mate.
That's the tough one. The injuries, they kick your ass, don't they? Terry's gutted. Terry takes this serious.
I do take it seriously.
Terry's like Cripper. He goes back into the dressing room, just kicks the door off.
I think the chat actually died for a moment, but it looks like the chat wasn't allowing people to comment.
I was like genuinely scary when
I was like, where is everyone?
I was looking at the view count going, no, they're still here. They're still here. Are they just hanging us out to dry here?
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't be the first time, mate. It's all right. Story of my life. Yeah, Bugs, you're right. I should have. What happened was I was about 20 meters out, 25 meters out on an angle, and I had someone open and just selfish footy. But you know what? I'll acknowledge it, and I will be better for it next time. Just go through the process, ask the question, slow down, and yeah, my bad. I rushed it. What can I say?
We'll never get Kurt Tippett wrong though. Now,
no.
Great.
All right. Any last thoughts, guys? Any last questions, Pommy? Any last things on your mind? What the hell is going to happen today in the game? That's what I want to know. Predictions.
Carlton by 8.
Carlton by 8. I think it will be. What do I think is going to happen today? I think we're going to see that 8-9 minutes arm wrestle at the start of the game, like we have the last few weeks. And it's going to be about who's going to actually break first and throw the first punch. I think Port will start well. And then I think we're going to have to counter it. And today we're going to have that test of, all right, now you're playing a really good team. Any mistake gets punished with a goal. So I think Port will start well, and I think it's going to be a nail biter.
Not great.
That's what I think. I think.
I agree with Ramiro. Wouldn't it be nice if we had an after the kick siren? We paid him back.
True. Yeah, I have a close game vibe about this. I also can see
us, Robbie Gray, David Cunningham kicking the winner.
Yeah. I also can see us having a quarter where it's just ballistic, or it's 6 or 7 goals, and then the crowd's going to be up and about, no doubt about that. Early on, my hope is that we start well to get us in the game early. But I think Port are just such a professional outfit in a system. But then I think we're gonna open it up, and I'm gonna say Carlton by 2 points.
Fuck me, Terry.
Can you imagine what that's going to look like today?
Yeah, I've got to do the watch along for it, Terry. I've had a tight one for a while, mate. 8 years.
19 goals and Kenny picks up the phone. Oh, wow. You know, I suppressed that review and that whole game from my memory when they kicked 19 straight goals.
Nah, I just live it. I'll live shit like that, Terry. Mate, can you imagine a 19 straight goal win? Oh. Yeah, I've got to admit, tell you what, last 3 weeks, I have enjoyed putting my feet up here by about 3/4 time. Just fucking enjoying the fourth quarter. I'm in holiday mode, really, to be honest. Yeah. So I can't do a close one.
Yeah. Also, crowd predictions today.
Fuck me.
I'm going to say...
What's the capacity at Marvel now?
I think it's 51 or 52. I'm going to say 48,654.
Uh, 48,150.
48,150. Okay.
For Wheaters.
I like it. For Wheaters. Okay. Well, come on. Let's go. See you guys at Marvel.
Go on, let's smash them. Not even
So
a real
Pommy-
side. They're a fucking place you park a boat.
Port Adelaide's a massive club. Oh, they fuck!
Got to be careful dishing it out pre-game.
Yeah, I know.
Pom's learned his lessons in all the years of doing this.
You got 27 tops on your seats. You got 27 tops on your seats. Okay.
Dear.
For those of you who are interstate, international, not going to the game, you come here at 4:20 p.m. Pommy will be live. What are you laughing at? Pommy will be here on the watch along. I will rush home as soon as possible after the game and be here for the fan cams. I'm thinking it'll be like an 8 o'clock start, something like that. Those of you at Marvel, can't wait to see you all there. Honestly, I can't. Come up and say good day if I've never met you. I would love to meet some of you that I know your names, but I don't know your faces. So come up and say good day, and let's get it. Today could be a special day. I think that's what the most exciting part is. So, Pommy, see you at 4:20, my friend.
4:20. See you then. Come on, let's go.
Come on, boys.
Let's do it.